Alright, we're back. We're live. We have things to chat about, I think.
Yep. Do we though? Let's
um,
hope.
I think we do. We have a few things to chat about. Maybe not a lot, but I think I speak for all of us in saying that it's been really rewarding and exciting to see the new squat models being released. Eh, 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 eh.
Always.
Something of
Always.
Votann or whatever. I sort of feel like the whole notion that I keep coming back to is like, man, it's cool squats are coming back, but not like this. Not like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess we can talk more about that in a little while. Do we have any like music related stuff we want to chat about, Greg?
Uh, what did we talk about last week, music related? I think we probably mentioned that Law Korean had a new record coming out. Maybe we mentioned that.
We did, yeah.
Um, I don't know if anything new has come up since then.
Okay.
Um, oh, I guess so. The guitarist to the kind of drone metal band Big Brave, his name being Matthew Ball, just released a solo guitar album called Amplified Guitar that was played. It was all recorded in a single take by the main dude behind Godspeed You Black Emperor and recorded on a guitar that Matt Ball had actually made himself.
Okay.
Um,
What's
and
what's
it's pretty neat.
what's the guy's what's the band's name?
Matt Matt Ball, Ball, and the album is called Amplified Guitar.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's worth listening to.
Matt with one L. We're Matt with one T. Yeah, each were recorded in a single tape. That's cool. Um, I don't know if there's, I don't know if I have too much any news or anything like that on my end.
Yeah, I don't know if I do either. Nothing too exciting here.
Yeah. Well, so I guess do we want to go into like what we've been working on, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I guess to end out last month, um, Eric, you painted this forest dweller model that
Mm-hmm.
we've had for a while now, and I sort of feel like it was kind of a last hurrah for the original line of contrast paints.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's at least what you used initially to paint the majority of the model. Um, and I think it turned out pretty nicely. It's certainly a very creepy, unsettling model. Like Wilhelm
Agreed.
Miniatures did a great job with the whole thing. I feel it could fit pretty nicely into lots of different settings and projects.
Yeah, actually, did you take my Dark Oath Flash, the main paint I used?
Oh shit, I still have it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'll have to give it back to you whenever I see you again.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
And you're not gonna use it tonight?
I mean, I wanted to, I really did. But I guess I'll just have to wait.
Yeah.
No, I just can't wait to try out the new contrast paints. That's what I'm excited
Are
about.
they being released this week?
I think it's this Saturday going up for pre-order, maybe.
Okay. Well, that's exciting that I won't have to buy any of them.
Right?
That's good. Oh, it looks like Modern Synthesis might have just gone live, unboxing some stuff. That will probably be neat to watch after the fact.
Like live right now.
Or I got a notification suggesting it, so I think it's right now. I mean, normally they'll have streams like on Friday, but I think
Yeah, yeah.
so. I guess yeah. If you're not watching this, go watch his stream.
Yeah. What do you think he's unboxing? Space Marines?
Probably the Horus Heresy bullshit. Because I think
Yeah.
I think maybe he might be unboxing with his brother. That would be my guess.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
Well, I guess sort of related to that in the Space Marines and stuff. Since we last chatted, I got the 10 of those new Space Marines that I ordered from eBay, and so I've gotten a little more of an opportunity to take a closer look at the actual plastic sprues and such. And I guess because of that, I've just initially started looking at their bolters and beginning to sort of plan what can be done to make a cooler, smaller, more usable looking bolter. At this point I haven't done too much. I just cut off the top half of the weapon, and then I'll have to like replace the barrel, give it some form of a stock, and then probably play around with some of the other stuff. So like these bolters, they clearly like have an ejection port, which I don't know. The lore for bolters goes back and forth a lot. I feel most of the time though in the art and whatnot, they always have ejection ports. But if I remember correctly, they were supposed to be caseless ammunition, but
Yeah, I feel this shit it changes a lot. Or maybe it doesn't change. It's just it certainly isn't always described the same way, and I don't really care.
the lore never changes, Eric. It's set in
Yeah,
stone, and if you change something like that, you'll lessen all of it for everyone.
yeah, real shame.
Throwing a little bit of shade there on
Uh-huh.
some people's arguments and how they get butthurt when things are changed. But yeah, so I don't know. The bolters look pretty nice. I do feel they seem a little more compact than some of the other ones, though I think part of that is just because I've gotten so used to seeing like the bolt rifles and stuff the Primaris have, which are all so comically oversized. Yeah,
Yeah.
these are certainly a lot smaller than that. It is nice though that I think at least two of them, the Marine does not have their finger on the trigger of the weapon, so
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
good.
crazy.
And so, like this
Considering there
one
are
that
only
I
like
chose,
5.
I'm probably gonna try and make a short little tutorial about how to do this conversion that I'm working on. And this one, I chose this one because the finger's not on the trigger, so I don't have to fuck with that.
That's nice.
um,
Honestly, that's kind of incredible.
yeah,
Truth
no, it
be
is
told,
nice.
like I
One
feel that's
thing
something you have to do for virtually every model.
Yeah, it is. One thing that's also interesting, the magazine on these weapons, like, it's really big. It's relatively thin, but like it really looks like the rounds in it would be some larger, like
Hmm.
necked bullet or something.
Which
Um,
isn't really the bolter thing.
yeah, which really isn't what they do with or show with most
Yeah.
bolters and stuff. So I don't. I kind of like the look of it, but I don't know. That could potentially be something that would be changed
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
because it's not large in a way that it'd be like a double stacked magazine or something. It's just
Hmm.
so I don't know.
I feel so much of their weapon designs, they make it's broader like that just because it's so tall, the weapon's so tall. And I feel you've experienced this a lot with most of your weapon conversions as you start to cut them down and reduce the size and some of the stuff, a lot of elements of them look a little bit weirder,
Yeah, that's certainly true.
but
So yeah, I
it
don't
is what it
know.
is.
I could potentially cut it down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe just cut it off and replace it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see what it looks like, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do for a stock for the weapon. I know I have a whole bunch of the Deloc, like little skeletonized stocks, and I feel they often look pretty good, and they're easy to cut apart and convert. So maybe I will base it off of one of those. We'll see. But one thing that is sort
Yeah.
of nice about these bolters, they have a bunch of different areas on them that you can kind of use as a guide when you're cutting them. And so like I used one of these like little razor saws, and the razor saws, they work really well for doing fine cuts, but if you're not careful and you don't have something to guide your cut, you could end up with a very crooked and curved and kind of messed up piece at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you have to be a little careful. And most of the time when I'm making a cut, I just find whatever I'm cutting, I find some area that kind of has a straight edge itself, and then cut along that and kind of use that to guide how everything goes. And even doing that, you can still end up kind of messing stuff up if you're not careful. Partially because since the razor saw you're using, since the blades are so thin, the blade itself can pretty easily warp and bend as you're cutting. So that's something you consider and at least be aware of, particularly if you've never used one before. I guess that's something we could talk more about sometime in an actual blog post.
That's true, because I feel doing a lot of sort of fine scale conversion work can be pretty tricky because
Yeah.
a lot of the pieces are small to begin with, at least in comparison to ours.
Well, so I know for some things with razor saws and other saws, they and just like cutting and carpentry in general, they make like these little like mitter boxes where
Oh
if
yeah.
you have something to cut, it's gonna be hard to see here, but there are little channels in here that will essentially hold you cut with the blade in that channel, and that essentially holds the blade and prevents it from warping. So the problem with that is there's only a narrow window where you can put the component in that you're going to cut. And in most cases, whatever you're cutting won't fit in there. And even if it
Okay.
would, like, there's no way to hold it in the precise way you need it to make the cut. Like it might be
Okay.
okay for cutting, just doing simple straight cuts of like a plastic hard rod or maybe even a brass rod or a
Okay.
piece of brass tubing. Um,
But
but yeah, so that often doesn't really fit. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. But yeah, so it's been interesting. I have been working on just assembling one of those newer plastic Space Marines, and overall they look pretty good. I feel their feet are too big, even bigger than Marines' feet normally are. I feel their torsos and abdomens are probably a little too slight. Their heads attach too deeply into their armor, such that like the position of their shoulders doesn't look right to their legs. Um,
yeah, I feel I saw some people on Instagram talking about that. Maybe it was even Colonel had
yeah, it
done some
was.
stuff, sort of extending it a little. Like the one that you're building here, do you think you would do something like that?
I will need to. It looks too
Okay.
bad otherwise. Like,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I even most of the time when I've assembled like the Primaris Space Marines and stuff, I've done a similar thing. Like
Yeah,
all of
okay.
the Space Marine models, their necks like end in like a socket, like a ball and socket. And while that makes it pretty easy to like assemble the models, like it often results in like the necks just don't look right then. They almost
Yeah,
they
I'm looking at
taper
them here. They
inward.
do look weird.
Yeah, they taper inward and that isn't good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like I know um Colonel, I don't think he actually sculpted their necks to like improve that. He just put like another piece of glued with plastic glue, a thin piece of plastic in like the neck joint area and then glued that on so it elevated the head a little bit. Um and then I would sort of feel you would want to go back in there and try and sculpt around there, but
Uh-huh.
you might not have to because probably people aren't really looking that close, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But probably the biggest triumph on the model is that they actually they've sculpted their butt, and that
Hard to believe.
yeah, that actually goes a pretty that goes a long way in making their bodies and abdomens and stuff look a little better because all pretty much all of the old Space Marines, like Jess Goodwin's illustrations, they have really their butts look really bad, I guess. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, so they've been kind of interesting and fun to work with. Their backpacks are quite different from a lot of the other Space Marine models. They're very broad, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the look of them.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, hopefully in the next few days, I'll finish converting this bolter here, and we'll have something either up on the blog or Instagram, kind of showing what's going on. And then I guess Eric, then maybe you could paint the model to go along with your other Dark Angels.
Yeah, no, it's like the thing to do, or I feel it's like the main thing I do. I mean, I guess I painted this Forest Dweller, but just painting them Dark Angels, such that maybe someday I will play Kill Team again. Maybe
Yeah, that
someday.
would be great. I might play it sometime too. One other thing that I thought was actually kind of neat, the like pistol grip on the rifles was actually was designed a little bit differently from some of the other ones, and I think it looks better. It
Yeah,
looks a
yeah.
little broader than a lot of the older ones, and not by much, but just a little bit. I think it looks nicer. That and the magazine release on the rifles are not at the right spot.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But that's fine. Yeah, okay, so I guess that's what we've been working on. Um, I guess there are some things that we can talk about on the Warhammer community side. Like, right when the stream started, we joked a little bit about the new squat models from, like, the leagues of Votann. And, these... I have opinions on them, I guess. Like, in
The
terms
armored
of...
ones look like StarCraft Marines.
Yeah, like, if there was
Or they
ever a
look like
model...
what I remember the StarCraft Marines to look like.
Yeah, if there was ever a model that really ripped off the Marines from StarCraft and StarCraft 2, it's these. And I mean, people will probably come to the defense and say like, "Oh, but StarCraft was based on Warhammer 40,000 and all that other shit." And so I mean, that is true, but now Games Workshop I feel is taking a lot more pains and efforts that when they name things and design things to really give them their own like 40k or Age of Sigmar flair, so they're distinctly their own stuff, and they sure didn't do that here. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, they're a weird thing because I feel their regular warriors that aren't as armored. I think the general balance between armor and other parts is okay,
Yeah.
and like seems to have a good balance, and like um seems like its own unique thing almost. Whereas these like just seem so generic sci-fi. It looks like StarCraft kind of, but the
It looks
weapons
like
are
generic sci-fi is a good way to put it. It looks like every other sci-fi thing you've ever seen. And on top of that, if you even just get past their armor, like the weapons they have, like that, like the Warhammer 40,000 universe has a fair number of pretty iconic looking weapons that people do recognize. Um, these weapons are so generic. Like,
maybe.
so
Uh,
generic.
yeah. A comment here by Rowan 501. Maybe you can buy stim packs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd fire it up.
stim packs an important upgrade to micro your your marines to do just enough damage. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I forget about it, I posted a link to. So a little while back, there was a Kickstarter for a Morkborg derivative called Orkborg. It was about orcs on a Space Hulk.
mm-hmm.
And they recently did uh similar to the generator that Morkborg has for making characters. That they did a pretty nice job with.
That's fun. That's fun. Wait, so yeah, I guess back to generic. Um, like honestly, like the models themselves, like they look pretty good. Like they actually have legs and arms that they could articulate, which like is good. But I don't know, like even if they had made these such that like the stupid wrist mounted blades, like that's so generic. The big boxy pistol thing, so generic. Like literally everything about these scream generic.
Like there's like a thing on their shoulder mounted thing. Like there's a shoulder mounted weapon.
Yeah.
Like what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
I almost hate them. Like they'd certainly be a good thing to convert into other things, like a heavily armored like mercenary or something. But when it like I think we talked about this before. Like they also have these like the sergeant or whatever. They have these stupid like horse-headed like banner things on them. Like I guess that was their effort to like have their own unique 40k flair. And boy,
I hate it so much.
that
One I
does
also
not do it.
dislike I also really dislike how it's in a similar vein, but they have those generic runes in their armor. Like it's just so yeah, just so generic. It's just like they take a generic sci-fi design and then they add generic dwarven shit to it. Like it's just not it's not a good look.
No, it's also bad when like I almost feel like probably the first thing literally everyone said when they saw them was like StarCraft 2 anyway. Hell, it's about time.
Yeah,
Because
it's
like
true.
yeah, I don't
It's
know.
true.
That's bad. They're bad. But yeah, I mean, what's so interesting about these is in terms of like poses and stuff, they're actually posed pretty well. Like I feel most of the time when we're complaining about their models, it's because they're posed terribly. Like, they're really poor. Like, this is just, they're so generic. And again, their weapons are awful. Like, it's fun. It is interesting. Like, if they had had more interesting and less generic weapons, maybe that could have made them more unique or memorable.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the raid, Grim Dorks. We
Oh yeah.
we're making fun of these new squat models that Games Workshop has previewed this week. There's not a lot to like.
There really isn't.
I mean,
Like, I
I
mean,
don't think it looks like it looks like they were fairly well sculpted. I mean, the faces I think look good. They
yeah.
just look like squat, short StarCraft Marines with less inspired weaponry.
That's very true. Well, and like the weapons look like they've come right out of like Overwatch or something. All of them. And I mean that's the thing is even like you think about like a lot of the stuff showing like the StarCraft Marines and stuff, they have really extremely caricatured like physiognomies and all that other stuff. So it's like they almost look like squats. And that's exactly what these look like too. Yeah, they look like the Terrans from
I
StarCraft.
almost wonder if
I think that's
the
literally what everyone, if you've ever played StarCraft, even if you haven't played it, that's probably what nearly everyone everywhere thought.
yeah. I just
I
can't get over that shoulder-mounted weapon that looks like some polygons. It looks like it's from Quake or something.
Well,
That
the shoulder mounted thing, they put even less thought into it than everything else. It's just like, let's cram together some shapes and call it done. It's bad.
yeah.
It's bad. I mean, I will say, like, some of the designs and whatnot on the back of the suit look pretty good. Like, they put in some thought into, like, how they would move, at least a little bit. One thing I don't like that 40k seems to love is on the back of, like, the legs and stuff, they'll just have these random cables that are seemingly, like, in the way. Don't
Yeah,
really know. Don't
make it
know why
harder
they're
for the
there.
joints to move. And
Yeah.
well, yeah, like that's a design thing. That's an Imperial and like Warhammer design feature. It's right up there with skulls.
Yeah. Well, and then another thing, like, all of their weapons and stuff, particularly the close combat weapons, it's like they're really big, bulky, and cumbersome to the point where it doesn't even look like this suit of armor they could ever, like, get to a point where they could strike someone with those weapons.
Yeah, it is unlikely.
So yeah, they're not great. They're not great. I do feel like we're gonna see them all over Instagram and such once they're released, with people converting them into other things, which I guess that's good.
Would be interesting to see their size in relationship to other 40k models.
Yeah,
But I guess
yeah.
it's nice to see that they're different genders too.
Yeah, I mean the faces look good and they're nice. They're they vary a little bit. They look, I think we had joked about this before with some of the other, like, Votann models. A lot of them, a lot of the faces kind of look like the faces they were trying to do with the Necromunda Orlocks. But these faces, like, are actually expressive and they look pretty good, whereas the Orlock faces look horrendous.
Why? Yeah, why do they always have to have, like you mentioned, cables on their legs, but even with their guns and stuff too. Just
Also, this one that I have up on screen right now, his leg where he's stepping forward, his foot is like twisted inward to the point where it almost looks like they're going to, like, trip and fall.
yeah, a little awkward looking.
Alright, we've talked enough about them. They
I
were
wonder
a
if they have
choice.
like a deep strike sort of teleportation mechanic, because these seem like a Terminator like unit that is good in some respects, but then can't really make it where it needs to go.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we've talked enough about them. Not impressed. For
No.
how much Games Workshop has tried to develop their own IP and make things that are distinctly theirs, they failed really hard with these.
Yeah.
They also, I guess, showed some new, like, Necromunda. Maybe they're like mercenaries or something. And these I feel are a little more interesting. I wouldn't really say that I like them. In what this the first one here with these, like, television screens or whatnot.
Yeah, they're interesting models, man.
I mean, what the first thing that I thought of when I saw this model here with the TV screen things is, like, look at the legs of the model. They are not well sculpted. Or at least from this angle, they do not look well sculpted. their
Neither
pose.
do the arms.
Well, the arms look terrible too. Like, like almost everything about the model looks super clumsy. If you look at like the folds and stuff in the cloth of their pants, that looks really awkward. Like the whole area around their crotch looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening down there.
Grip
Yeah, it
Shadow.
doesn't.
Their weapons, those weapons, they're very chunky. They do the first one of the things I thought of. They look like something out of like Overwatch or something. Like what is his name, Reaper, with like the shotgun pistols that he throws.
Yeah.
They look
Yeah.
like those pistols, kinda. Just big, boxy, forgettable looking weapon. So this is a propagandist. Yeah,
So cool.
it's not a good model. I mean, there are some of the detailing and stuff on it actually looks pretty good, but the actual person
I feel
does,
the mechanical parts look good.
yeah, but the rest look pretty trashy. This other one with the like the airbrush or whatever, they look better. Like their legs look a lot better, but I feel their posing is really questionable. Like they're holding up that enforcer like helmet or whatever. I don't know. I guess Games Workshop is typically always about big and bold heroic poses, and I don't it doesn't really work. And it doesn't work here. But this model does look better than the other one.
It does. The stupid like chaos star type. I mean, maybe it's not supposed to be a chaos star, but it's just like,
That's what it looks like.
just like generic detail stuff to just not the best.
Hopefully the box they're standing on isn't, you don't have to use that. You would think they'd let you choose if you wanted the box or not, but I assume these are gonna be from Forge World, right? Yeah, they're from Forge World.
Has to be. Has to be.
Yeah, so they're not great. But I guess the one positive thing you can say, at least they're continuing to make new Necromunda models and such. Um, I guess. if we
No, yeah, they're yeah in the Book of Judgment. It looks like it says that. So at least they're still like releasing models for stuff that rules had been written for. Like
Yeah.
that's nice. And
Whoa,
that they
did they preview like this like Bloodthirster type model? Was this previewed before and I just didn't remember or care?
yeah, I was kind of looking at it. I'm not sure.
I guess
It's
this
sort
is maybe one of the Bloodthirsters that
yeah, they've probably
the
shown it
Primarch
before,
of
but
the
it
Blood
looks
Angels
just
fought. So I think what's almost the so it looks like they have different head options for the model. In the one head, they're wearing like a helmet or something, and if that helmet does not remind you of World of Warcraft, I don't know what would. Like, to me it doesn't even look like
I thought maybe it was someone because these are different painters. I thought maybe it was someone's conversion. And it looked
But
like,
there at
oh, it's
least
kind of awkward, but
yeah, but there are at least two that have the same helmet. That looks horrendous. At least you can see part of their face underneath it. That makes it a little better, but it's not good. Yeah, so if you really wanted said model, you would have to make it without the helmet. The helmet just looks too bad.
yeah,
Though I
yeah,
will
it does.
say the model is massive. They have like, I guess they have a scenic base because they just love making dumb scenic bases. And there's like a dead space marine or two at their feet. This is a model that if you would ever assemble it, there would be literally nowhere you could put it. You couldn't transport it. You couldn't. Like, this article here
Yeah,
is that, I guess, Games Workshop sent the model to a bunch of different people, influencers and stuff, to paint it and showcase it. And I almost feel bad for them because now they have this model. What are they gonna do with it? Where are they gonna put
yeah,
it?
it is kind of true. Is kind of true. I mean, maybe you just give it away to somebody, but like, it's not a very cool looking model. Yeah, it would be hard to store anywhere. Just not the best.
Yeah, it's not molded to the model too well. Very Warcraft. Yeah, it just looks so like clumsy and bulky. And like even yeah, I don't know. Like if you wanted a Bloodthirster model, they already make so many plastic Bloodthirsters. Like there's the Scar brand model. I think that was Scar brand, right? Which is just a modified version of the Bloodthirster that isn't in the stupid running pose. Like, you really wanted a model like this, you should just buy that. And they're probably smaller too. So it's like everything you would want.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
don't
really
like
am
it.
not sure if they revealed it before.
I feel they probably did, and I just didn't care.
Yeah,
But like, I don't remember seeing pictures of a Bloodthirster model with this helmet. Because it's so distinctly World of Warcraft, it's not funny. And then
yeah,
also, they have the huge, like, spike on the shoulder pad. That's World of Warcraft. The hands. Do, do they really only have 4 digits?
looks like it.
Like, the hands are so big. Like, Games Workshop has been getting better with that, where they've started to downscale the size of the hands so they're not so comically large. But I guess
Yeah,
they didn't want to do that here because this is a demon. And look at
this is
the
awesome.
cloven hooves of the model also they look kind of fake. They don't like how even on the scenic base that I assume the model comes with, its one foot is raised up like kind of stepping on like some ground or something. It doesn't really look like the model is actually there. It just looks like they set it atop of a thing. Like it doesn't work with the surroundings. Oof.
Yeah, no, it's not great. It's not great.
And then what I think what's the weirdest thing about it is at a distance, everything just kind of looks clumsy and ham-fisted, and very much again World of Warcraft. But then if you like really zoom in and look at stuff, like it's very highly detailed, and there are aspects of it that I feel look nice, but like if you just look at the model overall, none of that really comes across. It's also
Well, in some
weird.
sense, it just seems very generic, which I
Yeah.
guess corn kind of ends up being that way a lot. It's like very generic in like a different way from those Leagues of Votann stuff.
Also, I would sort of question what's going on with its wings. Like, is that, I guess, how they're glued on is how everyone has them glued on. I guess that's the way you attach them. But they really look like they're twisted and contorted in a way that doesn't work. And also, the number of
Yeah.
like skeletal limbs that work through the wing, there really aren't very many of those, and like the fleshy part going between each of those is really big and has almost no detailing except for some like veins and stuff, which are heavily concentrated in one area of the wing. This may be the shittiest look, some of the shittiest looking wings that I've seen from the Games Workshop, like demon models and stuff.
At least in recent years.
In recent years, yeah. What the fuck happened here? I assume this is a plastic model, right? Maybe it's not. It has to be, right? Or wait. We sent this absolutely huge character series model.
So it's
So
probably
maybe
just some.
maybe this is a Forge World model.
Yeah, I mean that would maybe kind of explain its
Okay, so this was revealed in the Las Vegas Open.
okay.
Okay, but when they revealed it, they only showed the one where they weren't wearing the helmet, and that one it looks significantly nicer without the helmet. Yeah, I think this is a Forge World model. Gosh, I wonder how much this is going to cost. So much money for something that, well, yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna buy this. I mean,
Probably
people
not.
obviously will, but
A
um,
few.
yeah, wow, the
Yeah.
attachment of the wings is so strange.
We have to move on, man.
Yeah, we do.
It's not a cool model. Very phoned in.
Yeah, like if you could like not have the wings or like take them on and off, that would help a lot. Okay, so yeah, it's not great. I
Not,
guess
not what I like.
there are, maybe they announced today that on the 10th they're going to have some like summer previews.
Oh yeah. I think was it for like skirmish related stuff, did
That's
they
what it
say?
says. Maybe they'll
So I
tell
mean
us.
that's cool, I guess. Yeah, and so that does bring up, yeah, what we think.
Oh yeah, wait, Crypt Shadow. It does look like the one wing is almost attached backwards.
Yeah.
But all the people who assembled it attached it in the same way, so that's how they designed it. Maybe it's
Yeah,
supposed to
that's
look like Sanguinius like mangled the fuck out of it and like twisted it and broke it or something. Maybe it's supposed to be like that.
Yeah, so what do we think will be in like if yeah, they probably will just sort of announce the next Kill Team box. Do you think this will be the first place you can get League of Votann models or something? Like
Aside from
there's
the
a chance.
Necromunda ones, which I guess they're called something different.
Yeah, they're not League of Votann. Those are just squats.
That is certainly possible. Like the only thing they've shown now is like a
Are there
little.
other factions that like just haven't gotten anything? I mean, Tyranids, right? I mean, I guess they just had Gene Stealer cults and stuff, but have are there any other major faction that really hasn't gotten anything? I mean, they could really use a few more Space Marine kill teams, right?
Yeah,
Um,
they could.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like they recently got the Eldar thing,
Hmm.
which is also kind of dark Eldar. The Tau got something. The Sisters did. Um, the like core
Did the
Tyranids didn't.
Necrons get a kill team?
I guess not, right?
Yeah. I don't feel this would be that, but who
But
knows?
it could be Necrons. I feel maybe the Leagues of Votann. It's just a way to.
Promote that.
Is there something that would actually be neat to have? I don't know.
They could use it as an opportunity to like explore like other imperial stuff, like navigators or a navigator household or like
Hmm.
something like that, or like the Imperial Navy or something.
It might. I mean, is that there's a possibility that the kill team, it would be an avenue to release some Imperial Guard. Like maybe there's one with
Hmm.
yeah, Crypt Shadow, like you said there. Maybe the Casterkin with like
Yeah.
the that seems reasonable. I feel maybe I'm leaning more that they would do that because they want to release the Leagues of Otan in like some army box that you have to
Hmm.
spend like $200 to get a couple models and a book. I don't think they would want to piecemeal it.
Yeah. There's somewhere they showed like a little.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did the cat thing.
Yeah, which
Like
very
kind of
much looked like an Imperial-esque thing. Like they had one in like Space Hulk, in the newer
yeah.
variants of Space Hulk.
Yeah, they did the newer variants. So like that would kind of suggest Imperium shit.
Yeah. Oh, wait, here it is. I think there's. It says kill team enters the void. So that could mean like Space Hulk related stuff, which could be neat, but
Mhm.
the void of space contains great danger and even greater rewards. That's interesting. If they talk about rewards, that sort of then implies that this is going to be. But then this like little cat type thing, it almost looks like there's like an imperial. It's not even an Inquisition eye on it. That's more for the priests and shit, right? I think. No wait, these strange machines. Yeah, so they even call them the cyber altered task units. Yeah. Hmm.
It could be a thing like that they just have Tyranids, like a Gene Stealer thing or something.
Yeah, see, I always thought it would be neat if they did more stuff with like Space Hulk and the rules of Space Hulk, but they have things other than like Terminators.
Yeah.
I mean, this obviously won't be that, but yeah. So I guess this is probably the kill team thing they'll show. Hopefully, whatever they release in this, both factions will have completely redesigned units rather than one being new and
Like
different, and then another
yeah.
that just has an upgrade sprue. So
Mhm.
they've tended to do that a lot more recently. Remember the Chaos Space Marine kill team? You probably don't because they were that forgettable.
Wasn't didn't the one have that like stupid looking grinning face?
Yeah, that almost itself looked like a meme. Yeah. Was bad. What is interesting, so this Sunday preview, they do seem to suggest they're going to have previews for all sorts of stuff, like Underworld, Blood Bowl. So, like, they're probably going to show a fair amount of things. Oh, actually, that reminds. This isn't quite related, but um, they on the Warhammer community site there, they have a new set of like comics and stuff that they're releasing that's actually based around Warhammer 40,000. Is it? What is it? Does it have a name? Is it just the retinue or the retinue? Is that what it's called? I think.
Right. Yeah, the retinue. It's kind of cute. The little servo skulls are cute.
They are.
The one with the little hand that's kind of expressive. One, the little eyes and the skull are pretty.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, yeah, the Kasarkin, they sometimes work with the Inquisition, like, just like most of the Stormtroopers. Like, like, maybe was it the first Eisenhorn book? Like, there's a squad of them that work with Eisenhorn. So, it could happen. So I think that's probably most of what was revealed on the community site that we could conceivably talk about.
I think so. I think so.
They have something for in their like Sunday preview, which they show it's gonna be what you can start you'll be able to start pre-ordering. They have the old Chaos Sorcerers that Brian Nelson sculpted. They're fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame to see them going away, but I guess.
Well, they're apparently just going. Wait, are they going away? Or are they made to? Oh wait, they were. Is it they were made to order before?
Yes, I guess I don't know. I don't know exactly what that.
Yeah.
They'll be back in the made to order thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I could see that.
This Exalted Champion, he's fine. Oh, made to order Skaven. They're fine. Oh shit, the original Vermin Lord, I like them. There's a Hellbrick book. Don't think I care about that.
No one does. No one does.
Eric, have you watched any more of Warhammer Plus?
Not really. I watched
Yeah.
maybe one or so more episodes of Hammer and Bolter, but they were not particularly new, so not really.
Oh,
Someday I will, or maybe not.
yeah.
It's not something I feel people talk about, or I haven't seen people talk about it much. Although, admittedly, I guess I'm not really in circles that people might talk about,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Oh. The Ruin's asking if anyone has thoughts on the new line of paints and such. I sort of feel like these along with the older contrast paints. Like, I remember when the older contrast paints came out, I got a few of them, and then essentially didn't use them. Or if I did use them, I didn't really use them as they intended you to use them. Like, if anything, I just used them as kind of like a paint where I could like add more color as almost like a wash or a shade. That's kind of how I use them.
These ones seem to be really, really saturated, like even more so than the other
Yeah,
ones.
so I sort of feel like depending on what you're trying to do, since some of them are so saturated and brightly colored, they might work well in certain limited applications. I know probably what I'd be most interested in playing around with, like, I think they have some new, like, reworked shades. Are they being released with these? Or are these just the contrast ones? Not sure.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
the new
that,
shades are with these, yeah.
yeah, and
Which I
seven
think
shades.
on YouTube, Ninjon, he's had a video kind of talking about the new contrast paints and maybe
Mhm.
just released one about the shades as well. I watched some of the contrast one and didn't watch the other, but I think he was generally like them. Um, but I think you kind of have to maybe adjust your painting style a little bit to use them. And like if you're someone who paints a lot with washes and shades and such, they'd probably be up your alley. Like I know Mango Miniatures, who has some stuff on the community page every now and
Mhm.
again. Um, he he like does a lot with shades and is very good with them. So I can see why he's pretty good with contrast paints as well. But if that's not something you spend much time with, that like I feel it's just a very different
Your
style.
results may vary. Yeah, like, I'll be honest, I very rarely use, like, the get GW shades. Like, I have a bunch of them. I feel more often than not when I use them, I'm just disappointed in their effect. Like, almost the only thing that I'll ever put them on are things that are like metallic things. And I mean, part of that is just because I never really got used to using them and how to use them well. So like, you can certainly use them to great effect. It's just I never put in the time to learn how to use them such that I was happy with them. Um,
Yeah.
I feel I probably will get some of these newer shades and see if I like them better. The biggest thing I will say with the GW shades is you have to be really careful with them. If you try and thin them with water, that's kind of a you don't want to do that. Don't thin them with water. Because if you thin them too much with water, some of like the particles and stuff in there that help make the thing more matte looking, they kind of get messed up with the addition of water. And when it dries, you sometimes can end up with whatever you put, like white speckles all across the model, or at least
But
where you
don't you
put the
want that?
shade. And so that's not you don't want that. So if you do want to thin it, they have their own mediums and stuff that you should use. Which what's it called? That Lamia medium, I think it's called. It's a
That's what it
technical
is.
paint. Sort of thought they were getting rid of most of their technical line, but I doubt they'd get
Lamina
rid of that.
Medium is their media for the general stuff.
And then they
But
have their
then they
contrast
just
media too.
they have contrast medium. And I know Darren Latham, and when he used to have his Instagram thing and so forth, I think he kind of sounded as though he used them somewhat interchangeably.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so there are a lot of people that make really good use of both the contrast paints and the shades and stuff. I sort of feel like with just about any of the paints, you have to kind of use them a bunch, and depending on what your style of painting, they might fit in really well with how you go about stuff. But then they might not. And yeah, I know I talked with Eric about potentially how it might be kind of fun to actually spend some time, like a weekend or two, and get a bunch of like single piece metal models, prime them, and then just try and paint them with contrast paints and other shades and stuff, and spend some time trying to experiment with them and trying to get to a point where we're at least competent with the contrast paints and could get them to work a little better for us. But again, it's sort of the type of thing that I don't often can't bring myself to put in the time to do that, particularly when I could get a similar or better effect just the normal way I already paint. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess one
Yeah.
thing that I will say, at least if you're in the US, too bad, the new the shade paints with the mug bundle, it's no longer available online. It was $150, god damn. 19 paints.
Real shame.
Yeah, god. That's a lot. Oh my gosh, one of their contrast paints is called Bad Moon Yellow. Do I have Bad Moon Yellow out here?
Oh, that's kind of fun.
I still have a few pots of the original Bad Moon Yellow paint that they made, and that was a super bright yellow color that covered really badly. David, I'm pretty happy with the results I get with enamels and oils over top rather than spending 10 Canadian on a bottle. Yeah. Yeah, I sort of feel like, in general, using oil paints and stuff like that, I feel they're often an easier way to get nice looking color transitions and effects on your model. And also, since they're oil based and stuff, it's a lot easier you have a little more working time to modify things. Like if you don't like an effect, you can hopefully remedy it and change it. Whereas with a lot of these more like acrylic based paints, like once you put them on there, you don't have much working time before it dries, and then you're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Imperial Fist is the bright yellow, and I think Bad Moon Yellow is a little darker. Like, yeah, if I
Yeah, I don't know. I could see these be something that maybe you hear on through Instagram or someone stuff like, oh, this one particular one is pretty good for this one thing or that, and I could see maybe getting one just for the hell of it, but
yeah, so here's Bad Moon Yellow. It's pretty bright. It's a lot brighter. It's hard to tell from the paint here, but for most of the other yellow paints that I have, they're much This, like, when you paint it on, at least compared to some of the other paints that I have, this has almost more of like a fluorescent aspect to it. No, it really isn't, but gosh, that's a lot. Yeah, so I don't know. I might buy one or two of the shades. But I think, as Eric said, what would probably be better to do is just continue painting how you're currently painting, and in a few weeks to months, if you hear people talking about like one or two of them that are particularly good for a certain thing, maybe you could buy those. Because again, most of the newer ones are also really bright, super bright, and a lot of those colors I feel don't necessarily fit that well into 40 40k inspired stuff unless those colors are for like a strobing spotlight or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how's everyone feeling? What's your thought? Is there anything else we want to chat about tonight, or do you think we've largely run the course of everything that we wanted to touch on?
I should go to bed.
Yeah, I feel we probably said what we need to say
I hear you.
or what we wanted to say.
Yeah, so, well, I guess thanks everybody for joining us tonight. It's been fun. We spent a lot of time poking fun at some models. And we'll see what becomes of a lot of that stuff. But yeah, thanks again for joining us. Thanks for your questions and listening to us